Slide 1. 2. In order to understand and run an aquaponic or recirculating aquaculture system, the system water must contain the most important dissolved nutrients, which are important for the organisms living in the system. Also, one must know which processes are involved in transformations of these nutrients, and how this affects fish and plants. This pictogram represents the approximate ratio of most important macroelements in plants. C to N to P, which is 106 to 16 to 1. This means that for every atom of phosphorus in a plant cell or tissue there are approximately 16 nitrogen atoms and 106 carbon atoms. Today we have 120 or so elements, 92 natural occurring plus a couple of dozen that they've been created in labs. In the solar system, stars in general, and probably the universe as a whole, the most abundant elements are the lighter elements, over 90% hydrogen, several percent helium, about 1% everything else. In the everything else, even-numbered elements are more abundant than odd-numbered elements. The abundance tends to fall rapidly with increasing atomic number. Carbon, oxygen, magnesium, silicon, and iron are anomalously high, relative to these general trends, while lithium, beryllium, and boron are anomalously low. In the Earth's crust, the order of abundance is oxygen, less than 50%, silicon, greater than 20%, aluminum, iron, magnesium, calcium, sodium, potassium. These are all the sorts of elements that rocks are mostly made out of. In the Earth as a whole, because of the core and the mantle, iron, nickel and magnesium become more important, but oxygen, silicon, and aluminum remain major overall constituents. There are 92 naturally occurring elements on the Earth. Some are very well studied, some not at all, for example astatine. The problem is that some elements are very rare. There are, for example, fewer than 20 francium atoms in entire Earth. Only about 30 of the naturally occurring elements are widespread on Earth, and very few are important for life. The bulk biological elements are hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, sodium, magnesium, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, potassium, calcium. Trace elements believed to be essential for bacteria, plants, or animals are boron, fluor, silicon, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc, selenium, molybdenum and iodine. Possibly essential trace elements for some species are arsenic, bromine, strontium, cadmium, tin, barium, tungsten, wolfram. It is important to note that the frequency, and with that the availability, of elements in the Earth crust does not match the frequency in living beings. For example, silicon is a very frequent element in the Earth's crust. However, apart from the diatoms, it is very rarely present in living beings. Macronutrients are substances that are required in larger quantities. Micronutrients are required in minute quantities. For autotrophs, which include most plants and autotrophic bacteria, macro and micronutrients are elements or anorganic compounds, such as ions and gases. Plants, with the exception of parasitic and carnivorous ones, absorb the essential nutrient elements from their environment, made of air, soil solution and nutrient solution. For heterotrophs, animals, heterotrophic bacteria, macro and micronutrients are organic compounds, synthesized by autotrophs, vitamins and minerals. Animals obtain the nutrients from food and drink. Elements like hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen and phosphorus play a major role in the structure of organisms. They build biological molecules, proteins, DNA, fats, carbohydrates, that further build tissues and skeletons. Phosphorus, P, for example, is an essential nutrient which is utilized in DNA, as part of the phospholipid backbone, and for generating energy for metabolic functions, through adenosine triphosphate, ATP. It is also essential for the formation of sugars and oils, and for photosynthesis. As young tissue requires more energy, it is particularly important for juveniles. Calcium, Ca, is required for cell walls and membranes, and is necessary for providing strength to stems and roots, and for enabling the development. Hydrogen, sodium, potassium, chlorine, and phosphate ions play an important roles in electrochemical reactions involved in energy metabolism, signaling and message transmission in nerves. Calcium and phosphate ions play a role in muscle contraction. Potassium, K, is mainly involved in cell signaling, flowering, and fruiting. It also supports the synthesis of proteins, carbohydrates, and starch, through enzymatic activation, and it is important for the transport of certain compounds within the plant, such as glucose. Magnesium, Mg, is necessary for the proper synthesis of chlorophyll, which is central for photosynthesis. Elements, complexed with enzymes, play an important role in catalyzing metabolic reactions. Zinc is a plant micronutrient, and although it is only needed in small quantities, without enough zinc plants cannot produce the necessary enzymes for metabolic functions, and the growth will be stunted as a result. A major problem can be zinc toxicity. While plants can tolerate an excess, fish cannot. Zinc is used as part of the galvanization process of fish tanks, nuts, bolts, etc., and it is found in fish waste. Deficiencies are therefore rarely a problem. Another example is iron. It is also a plant micronutrient and is critical for photosynthesis as well as for the electron transport chain. Thanks for the attention.